Dr. Lewis Brown of the Brown Foundation. And today is January the 27th, 2015. It's a cold, cold Tuesday night. Usually back, if I was, back young, real young, I'm talking back in, grade school, middle school, I'd be tuning in right now to get ready to watch Happy Days on ABC down in New Orleans on Channel 8, formerly Channel 8, rather, WVUE. But them days are long gone. They ain't around no more. Just cherish the memories. Black History Month is just next week. And I want to thank all of you who have written in and requested that your radio stations carry the Black History Fact. We're going to be on several stations throughout the state of Louisiana, New Orleans and Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Alexandria, and Monroe. We're also going to be on several stations in the state of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Virginia, and in the D.C. Area as well as the Big D, Dallas, Texas, and in Houston, Texas. We're going to start. Each segment is going to run at a different time, and we're going to spotlight different people who have made history in the Black community, as well as those who are continuing to make history in the Black community. Now, I don't know if many of you all know this, but this Mardi Gras coming up, I believe Mardi Gras falls in New Orleans on February the I want to say 17th. I know President's Day is on the 16th. That's the day before. Well, that February the 17th marks a very historic day down there in New Orleans, not because it's Mardi Gras, but if you look back in the annals of time and you turn back the hands and the clocks, you'll see that February the 17th, 1949 was the year that Louis Armstrong was crowned King of the Zulu, and that parade rode for that particular Mardi Gras on that particular day, and they outdid the Rex parade, and Rex was the big thing back then. And Rex tried to make sure that that was the only parade that was running on that day, being that Rex was a predominantly Caucasian parade and Zulu was predominantly black. Louis Armstrong made history on that parade, and we want to thank those that have written in to hear more about that. Hopefully, we'll be able to get this rolling. I also want to let you all know that I'm pushing in certain areas of the United States to have African American history courses, African American lit, and African American studies and studies in black novels, where we study different poets that have contributed to the civil rights era as well as to the Harlem Renaissance, which many people still don't know about, as well as look at different films that will come from my collection dating back to 1900 up to about 1981. We're going to be taking a look at the films, and we're going to be hopefully telling individuals how they can get copies of these films on DVD. They're on 27, 72, and 68 millimeter films, the big blocky kind. And we also have the original Our Gang comedies, the ones that came out the silent era with Mickey Daniels and Weezer and Pineapple, Farina, and Sunshine Sammy Morris, and a couple others that were out, Mary Coleman and all the rest of them, and Joe Cobb, and Chubby, he was in those, a couple of the silent ones as well. We have the originals, and we're going to be giving those away on DVD for free to those that want them. We also have the talkies that began. I have one of the shorts that was filmed in the city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was a remake from one that was done in 1924. It's called A Tough Winter, and it starred Farina Hoskins, Alan Hoskins, Jackie Cooper, Marianne, I forgot her last name, but Marianne Jackson, Weezer, Chubby, and it also made a special cameo appearance who stayed a long term in there for that particular show. It was about 25 minutes by Step and Fetch It, William Lincoln Perry. And that marked the first time he was with the Our Gang series. At the time, Hal Roach was considering giving him his own series. And that's going to be part of Black History Month. We also have the MGM shorts that were later produced from 1938 to the end of the series in 1944. We have the very last Our Gang short we're going to be giving away called The Tale of a Dog and Dancing Romeo, which starred Buckwheat, the longest cast member and survivor of the series. We have all of them, and they're good talkies too, and I invite you all to get them. And we also have some very special movies like the original Imitation of Life that came out in 1935, and the remake that came out 24 years later with a couple other people back in 1959. The remake cannot even touch the original. People prefer the remake than they prefer the original. I prefer the original because the original was done in black and white. And it starred the late, great Freddie Washington and several other stars of that past era who have since all passed on. We also have the original Song of the South by Disney with the story of Brer Rabbit and Uncle Remus. And the character of Brer Rabbit was played by the Johnny Downs, and Johnny Good. Well, his real name was Johnny Good, and he played in the Amos and Andy show as Algonquin J. Calhoun. He played the original voice of Brer Rabbit, as well as Andy played the original voice of Brother Bear and Brother Wolf. So the Amos and Andy cast was sort of reunited, and we also have the original Amos and Andy films, uncut, unedited, and we also have the original shorts of the Amos and Andy show that will come on late night. They kicked them off the air, but we have the originals, and I also have 57 episodes of the Beulah Show, starring Hattie McDaniels, Ethel Waters, and Louise Beavers, all at one time playing a part of Beulah. Butterfly McQueen was in there as well as Arthur Dooley Wilson, and a couple other people were in there as well. But the series itself was pretty good, and I think you all will enjoy this for Black History Month. We also have a series of shows like the Nat King Cole Show, and we have a series of Jet magazines, of which I'm going to show you a couple of them right now that you have. That we have access to. Okay, can't find those right now. But we have some Jet magazines dating back to the 1950s and early 1940s, and we also have them when they were the Hue magazines. And if we could get a Jet magazine reach to me right now, we'll be able to look at one. Reach me, Jet Shamara. We'll be able to look at the Jet magazine. I'll be able to show you all what I was talking about. And there's little Lewis in the background. Say hi, little Lewis.
Hi.
It's been a rough day at the camp for him. He had a good time today. Here are some of the Jet magazines that we had going back. This is a Jet magazine that we had going back. This was from 1962, March 1st. Here's one that I personally have a special interest in. This is the Jet magazine from June the 30th, 1974, where Dr. King's mother was assassinated at the Ebenezer Baptist Church. And we're going to have a radio show on later on this week, January the 30th, where this will be discussed in detail. These are original. Here's another Jet that was taken out in 1962 of July. It talked about Eartha Kitt tells how to hold a husband. Eartha Kitt was a very beautiful woman, and we have several of her early movies, as well as Lena Horne's shorts from the 1930s. I would encourage you all to call at 703-594-2302 and order your free DVDs. The DVDs are free. Here's another Jet that we have. It was done in 1967 of February. And the new tactics of ex-civil rights wild man it talks about during the civil rights era. We also have this Jet magazine right here. Blacks Create Decisive Device that Reduces Crime. This is something that a black man invented for a device that reduces crime. And boy, we need that nowadays because there's crime everywhere. Here's another one that we have. And this was about Leslie Uggams, February the 28th, 1963. We have that one as well. We also have a series of Life and Ebony magazines depicting and dictating the death of the late, great Malcolm X, how he was assassinated, as well as the one where Medgar Evers was assassinated, as well as the one that dealt with the death of Martin Luther King and his killer, and the one that dealt with the assassination, as I put it, of Alfred Daniel King, Dr. King's youngest brother. A lot of people didn't even know he had a brother, and his brother was assassinated. So we have that as well. And we have another one dealing with the hairstylist of the 1950s. And we have one dealing from 1961. Talks about Adam Clayton Powell, how he met his wife. These are just some of the interesting magazines that we have. There's Shamara in the background over there. These are just some of the interesting magazines that we have. And we're going to be donating these magazines to some of the Black History museums that are around the country. I encourage you all to please write in or call us. Our post office box is the Brown Foundation, Post Office Box 7986, Woodbridge, Virginia 22191. That's the Brown Foundation, Post Office Box 7986, Woodbridge, Virginia 22191. And we thank you and God bless you. And I look forward to hearing from you. And you will be hearing more of our Black History events. We're going to be on the Satellite Music Network this coming January the 30th for a show dealing with Sister Truth. And we're going to be talking about the things going wrong within the Black community and how to fix them. And we want to thank you and amen.